like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Inca, Kamak, and Silks people. And welcome to the Policy Review Committee meeting of February the 5th, 2026. First off, we'd like to adopt the minutes of the November 13th, 2025 meeting be adopted. One and the other. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Okay, so unfinished business, none, and so we have new business. So 4.1, single egress stairway safety policy. That the policy and bylaw review committee recommend to council. So single egress stairwell to be adopted based on the recognition available for fire department resources and in support of our planning and development services staff in delivering predictable, safe, and timely development services to our community. I guess discussion. Councilor Tring?
I am totally against a single egress. I think that it would be very irresponsible for us to recommend this. It's a dangerous situation. I could just imagine the chaos that would be happening.
Especially
firefighters going up, residents going down.
Yeah.
And it's just chaos. I think this is just a moneymaker for developers so they can squeeze more units in. And I personally would not recommend this.
Well, and also, I think the recommendation is only if we had all of the pieces met, and I'm thinking
We don't have to be.
it doesn't seem likely unless chief has.
No.
This is
being brought to us by.
because it was the update introduced last year, but
Yeah, we don't have all the safety things in place.
yeah. Chief, is that accurate that
forget
we wouldn't be able to comply?
Well, I would recommend that we recommend to city council that we don't do this.
Chief?
That's correct in the sense that there's assumptions that would have to be met, and that's that our fire prevention capacity could handle the enforcement component. That not necessarily a worry in our community, but that the water supply for sprinkler systems and firefighting is in place. We have great water supply, but where it comes down to is the occupant egress and rescue, as well as fire suppression capacity. The building code explicitly says in its appendices that the expectation is that there's a full-time paid fire department with adequate staffing, training, and equipment to conduct a multi-company, which is multi-apparatus response and rescue operations in multi-story buildings continuously 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as you know, we are staffed right now to provide a rapid one company or one engine response to all emergencies within our boundaries. And we are backed up by the paid on call firefighters. So we're staffed to provide that rapid response Monday to Friday during working hours with career staff, because it's perceived that we don't have enough staffing with the paid on call staff. So that does not meet the intent of or what's required in the appendices of the building code with respect to adequate response.
Do the WEPs get included in that at all, considering they're not full-time permanent?
Well, the reality of the work experience program firefighters, they can't work independently of the career staff.
Okay.
So they make up part of that engine company, and they allow us to have other services in the city like first responder and supplement our paid on call staff, but they are not kind of the magic bullet that would allow us to take this on. It also comes down to the level of training and the fact that we don't have training grounds, so we can't even train at this level to work in multi-story buildings at this point.
Yeah. So, okay. It makes sense. It supplements, but it doesn't help meet the minimum requirement. Okay, it makes sense. Mayor? You can have.
Were you gonna go down or are you done?
No, I thought we were just leaving them all on.
Yeah, I just want to point out page 3 or page 8, where it says prevention, our limited fire prevention resources cannot support the intensified inspection, suppression with a single apparatus response. We are not resourced to provide the multi-company rapid rescue and egress support if the single exit becomes compromised. The level of coordination, rescue, and interior support presumed by the code exceeds our current staffing and equipment capacity. So I agree with Counselor Egan that this should be a no-go when it's presented to council. Thank you.
So
Anything else?
with that comment, since it says review that we recommend it to Counselor Ogan.
Question for the staff, so just to make sure that is clear. So if this policy is adopted tonight, so because the city does not meet those requirements, in this case, the prevention, suppression, and capacity, is not gonna be effective, is that correct? Or we have to defeat the adoption?
I think we could move it and then
And-
decide
and
at
then
council and
decide
then
not to-
defeat it there, but we
That's-
just
that's my-
recommend it here. But
Pushing it up.
CAO,
Thank you. I can clarify that for you. What I understand is if we support this policy, we will not be allowing single egress stairs. Is that correct, Chief?
That is correct.
So we're looking for you to support the policy that we've created to not allow the single egress. Right?
So it's kind of like a double negative.
Yeah, it is a double negative.
Well, double negative.
Say
is
yes or
positive,
no.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. Cause it
That's what I said,
says
double negative.
Yes.
fire department, so. So
So by title of the document and whatnot, you might get a different impression, but the policy itself is not allowing the single egress.
So then I have to retract. I'll have to say I support the policy.
So-
Yes,
Yeah.
Well, if you do in fact support it, and we'd all appreciate it if you did.
yes, I do.
So,
I do.
Okay, yeah, that's
And recommend that we don't support it, or that we do support.
We do
it.
support it.
the motion,
Until it gets to council.
It's so
and then shoot it down like,
Then we'll
Yeah.
get confused when it gets there as well.
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
fine.
so the recommendation is to support and push it to council for the vote.
Yep.
So all in favor? Okay, great.
Procedure.
Oh, we already did.
Egan and Charney, yeah, first, second, all in favor,
Seat up there.
yeah.
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 So a lot of the times then I'm usually at TNRD sometimes when this happens, so I was missing. And I wanted to sit up, so I gave my seat up then. We actually voted on
I
that.
thought that was on finance.
Both. Oh,
They all meld into one anyway. Okay, so 4.2, we have the unimproved road maintenance policy that the Policy and Bylaw Review Committee recommend to council that the unimproved maintenance policy be approved.
Everybody gone.
oh, come on.
Uh-oh,
I,
okay.
Adam? Could I have clarification on what is the unimproved road maintenance? Is that like
Cripple.
between your property line and the road? Is that the unimproved section is?
Are those-
What is an unimproved section
Like
then?
a section of road that's, sorry, I thought you were on,
Thank you. This is referring to unimproved right of ways for roads. So in an area where we have a developed road to a certain point and then an unimproved piece that the city has not built infrastructure on, right? Then we don't maintain that. So it's clarifying something we haven't had in policy before to deal with a level of expectation.
I know where you're
in
going.
front of like
Okay.
Curly Park.
So with that, I was thinking, up where they're putting the new road up behind, Gasoline Alley.
No.
No, because
So
there's
that
no
would-
improvements there yet.
Not yet, but it's not our property. It's not a road allowance yet because it hasn't actually been subdivided.
Okay.
Where there's an actual road allowance, which is different than a physical road. Road allowance is a piece of property that allows for road and transportation and whatnot, but if we haven't built infrastructure on it, there's no reason for us to be in there maintaining it. And by infrastructure, the city or the province should build it to appropriate standards for us to maintain it. If we have something where somebody has built something like, say, a driveway and it's not done to our standards, why would we maintain that?
And would that include if a person has a house that's connected to city water? Because some areas of town that were previously part of the regional district maybe were built when they were part of the regional district and then became part of the city. So if we have maybe some roads with an extended driveway that are connected to city water.
Well, I don't think it would have anything to do with the water itself.
No.
It's really about the use of the right of way.
Okay,
If we haven't built the infrastructure for transportation, right?
Mhm.
Then we're not gonna be maintaining it with snow plowing
Yeah.
and whatnot because we haven't put any infrastructure in there. It's unsafe for the equipment if the
Mhm.
grades and the design is not correct for proper traversing with equipment.
See, I
That
think
makes
that's the
sense.
key term. We're not using it for transportation.
And by the
And-
fact that we haven't built anything on it,
Yes,
tells us we're not using it for that. It's just
yes,
it's just a blank unimproved area that people can walk on. We haven't put a pathway infrastructure on it. We haven't put road infrastructure on it. If somebody has, say, used it for a driveway, for instance, right? And has used it that way for years, we wouldn't have an obligation to maintain their driveway because it's not necessarily built to standards that the city can maintain.
And maybe
right.
another piece could be for public benefit, right? Because if it's a road that you can access as the public, but it's not really benefiting anyone else. It's going to only one home or two houses or something.
Which would set up one of the
Yeah.
reasons that we get calls in these situations for maintenance.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where we need to have a policy to clarify our position on
Mhm.
that. Because it costs money and time and everything else to maintain these things and chase down the concerns. And yet we haven't applied any infrastructure in there that we would maintain in the first place.
No, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah,
Okay, and this is a new policy.
New policy to add clarification to
Yeah.
something that's been in practice. To give us tools when we get concerns raised about, whether or not somebody's using something even as a walking path, right? Well, if we haven't built a walking path there, how can we maintain a walking path? Right? But people walk on it anyways.
okay, I do have a question on page 3 of 5 of this document. On the first paragraph, upon the unimproved road allowance, if it's being reported by a neighboring property, does it have to be reported by a neighboring property? Could Bylaw or the garbage or someone else report this? Does it have to be by a neighboring property owner?
All right, page 3 of 5.
Yeah, where the city becomes aware of an obstruction on an unimproved road allowance caused by the placement of a building structure improvement.
It's the last page.
Hmm?
It's the last page.
Okay,
No, it's 4.
Yeah, about this.
It's under obstructions.
yeah, I guess you could probably, it wouldn't have to be a neighboring property. It would be if a condition's reported.
Yeah, I think that that's important too, because sometimes the neighbors don't want to mention anything in case there's a feud.
Yeah, I don't think we'd want to limit.
Yeah,
the-
I wouldn't want to limit it
It
either.
would just be reported,
Yes,
right?
I agree on that one.
Okay. I made a note
It would
about
be
that.
to pose as a safety risk or something.
Mhm. Yeah, those were the only concerns I had, and I support it.
Aware of building structure upon the improvement. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be by, it's just when we become aware of it.
Yep.
You betcha. Okay.
Yep.
Note made.
Yes.
Okay, so then we'll recommend to council that the unimproved road maintenance policy be approved to bring up to the meeting. So Egan and Charney, all in favor?
Charney Egan.
Starting Egan, CNA, sure.
Let's go back and forth, yeah. Unless someone's not in, yeah. Okay. Shopping carts.
We have our good old revisited shopping carts, 4.3. So this was forwarded from the council meeting for discussion on the shopping carts, so I guess I already know, like, I'm a little concerned about bringing this up, but I think Councillor Trafford wanted it, the council, you may as well speak on it.
I think it has to be addressed. I've had calls of saying, people are tired of seeing these carts abandoned here, there and everywhere. I don't think it helps our downtown core when we see these things happen. I know it becomes a prickly situation when someone is using that for their possessions, but I see a lot of carts that are abandoned with all those possessions in there.
Yeah.
So how dedicated are they to that bag that's in there?
It's, well, if you've got somebody that's borrowed a cart from a business for their personal use, how concerned are the actual people that had their property taken? I'm talking about the business owners.
Mhm.
Because we have had in the past, I recall somebody saying that the businesses were contacted by our city yard saying, come and get all these carts that we've got stored for you. And they said, just throw them away.
Depends. There's been more than one call. And as you can see by the chart here, like in 2023, the number was significantly higher. And 2024, it was back down to 109, 103. I don't know if it's less. I don't know if it's because encampments are happening outside of some buildings, like the old daycare near my office sometimes at night, but then that's moved. So maybe the number's down, maybe because the shelter's more active at the nights in, maybe there's less use. I'm not sure. I mean, I agree that it's a concern and seeing that around town could create problems, but it's also a tough thing if we're trying to take them back because it becomes like a human right piece where you have to do it very carefully. Otherwise, then we can have a human rights complaint against the city as well. I don't know who was first, if it was Councillor Olgan or.
Oh, it'd be me.
Yeah.
So the first thing we have to understand is these carts, when they're not on the lot, are stolen. They're stolen property, 100% stolen property, and that's why the RCMP looks at them. If we look at the sentence, the city has stored up to 35 carts at one time. Currently, there are 25 carts from various stores in there, and the bylaw officer spends approximately 20 to 30 minutes on each cart. So at this point, he spent 17.5 hours on these 20 carts. I'm not sure what he gets paid an hour. Now, if we take the attachment of 22, 23, 24, and 25, that's 236 hours. And I'm guessing with close to bylaw billing time, that's over $10,000 in 4 years that the bylaw officer has dedicated himself to playing with shopping carts. Absolutely total waste of money. The reason that you're seeing a drop from 23 to 24 is that's when the RCMP started saying, these are stolen, we're taking. That's why you see the drop. It's 100% why you see the drop. So I know we have some recommendations here, or you do. I think the very first thing that I would like to do is when I meet with the RCMP staff sergeant, is ask them to start policing the carts again. I think we should, because that way that they can police the carts and the items don't have to be held on for 30 days. They can be dropped right there on the street, cart gets taken, off it goes. So that's what was happening before. And I did talk to all of the businesses that had it. And there was only one business that decided to chain them up, and they chained them up, and I see they're not chaining them up. And so maybe have to go talk to them again and say, hey, can you break out your chains and chain them up? But I think
At night, they chain them up?
At the end of the day, they chain them up.
Okay.
Now in Kamloops, all the carts go in the store. And in the morning, they all come back up because they were losing all of their carts, all of them. So most stores, when you go to Kamloops now, they're all inside the store. Even the ones that lock in the thing where you put your little deal in and get them out, they're all in the store now because these carts are about 2,700 to 3,000 a piece. And when you lose 78 carts in 2 years, that's expensive. That's almost $40,000.
So your groceries are up.
Yeah, there you go. So that, again, that's who ends up covering the brunt of this when the carts have to get replaced. So I like the recommendations that are here. But for me, the first thing that I'm going to do is ask the staff sergeant to start picking up shopping carts again. That's good. I'm done. Thank you.
And he's not going to say it should be the bylaw officer picking them up?
Well, the thing is, as I said, Councilor Egan, if we get the RCMP to do it, if we get the RCMP to do it, they can empty the cart right then and there. The cart gets taken and somehow it gets back to the business. I think what they do is they call the business comes and gets it. If our bylaw officer takes it, then we have to store the product for 30 days.
And their contents.
And the contents in it. So that's what started happening before when we had this conversation. We asked the RCMP to be more vigilant and pick up the carts and they did. They started doing it. And I don't think it would be a problem for that to happen again for them too.
Okay.
So I would like to make that conversation, and I can bring that back to council when I have the conversation with the staff sergeant to see if they would start doing that again.
I
Because it
think,
was on their offer that they did it, so.
I think, Councillor Hogan and the CAO have comments as well. CAO?
Yeah, I just wanted to, you don't mind me jumping in on that, follow up with the question, I guess, of if we have the RCMP dump a card out and take the card, have we not got the same hourly effort required to go in there and clean the mess up?
Yep. And that was a problem that we had before, and that's why we didn't enforce that as heavily. And then it was also.
Just have garbage bags.
So the thing is if they do dump it, and we have to clean it up, at least we don't have to hold it for 30 days. Okay. At least it now goes into the closest dumpster.
I
Nope.
just think we have to be careful.
No, we
with,
do not. If the RCMP dump it right then and there, and those people walk away from it, it's now can be picked up and thrown in the garbage can. That's
I
how it's
don't,
gone.
we have to be careful about of having a human rights
But
complaint.
whose cart is it? And if that's an abandoned cart, they've gone off and left their stuff. So who's gonna charge the human rights?
Well,
I
It
mean,
just depends on
they
what-
have left that cart. I saw one cart for 2 days in the same position filled with the
Yeah.
stuff. Now, you can't tell me that Joe Blow's gonna come back to the city and say, hey, I want my stuff. I'm gonna charge you with human rights because you abandoned that. And as far as the law would go, I think an abandoned is abandoned.
Yeah.
And human rights out the window it goes. I mean, we have to start looking at our taxpayers and what are their rights and what are our responsibilities to them? And our responsibility is to keep a clean town.
I do agree in that sense, and we do want to make sure that we have a clean community, and keeping people safe, and we don't want to encourage encampments, but I know that, Councillor Petrosi was even mentioning that when they had their carts involved, that they were trying to retrieve them by offering heavy duty bags to put the stuff in and giving the resident, when there was a resident near it. But I mean, when it's the abandoned one, I don't know, maybe calling their CMP is the solution. I don't know that they would be able to come to those calls as well. Councillor Oaken, you've been waiting.
Thank you. So I agree that we have an issue. Is that a unique issue for Merritt, in shopping carts? No, that's an issue everywhere. We need to determine what is going to be the cost to implement any of these options that are being recommended. So I also need to understand how big the issue is, how many phone calls Councillor Charney received throughout all these 4 years that we've been, or almost 4 years that we've been in council. So personally, I have received only one phone call. So now from staff point of view, how many times have the members of the community approached the city to complain about that issue? So that will give me a good idea of what is the priority that we have to address this issue with. So I feel that it worked when, as Mayor said, when there's RCMP involvement, it was reducing the numbers. So perhaps it's just creating the strategy. Step number one, like Mayor said, so he's going to contact these people. Step number two, what are we going to do? So as I shared with all of you before, there are communities where they have, get other social organizations in town involved to be able to help out. So I don't know what the solution is here. So I just feel like we have to be careful with any implementation because it's gonna affect the person. I'm not concerned about the human rights. I'm more concerned about treating these people with respect. I feel like this is our belongings and that's all what they have. So I do understand it's a problem from the community and we have to create and look after our taxpayers. I do understand that part, but there is two sides on this issue and we have to see both sides.
Councillor Charney?
I agree. I think there isn't one solution that's going to solve this. I think it's a multi-pronged. I agree we have to try and get the RCMP to start working on it. And I also think we have to look at these stores and put some responsibility on them. It's their property. So if we work on stores with trying to work with prevention and retrieval, so that you're double pronging it there also. I think that would be this maybe our first two steps would be to work with the RCMP and then work with the stores.
I think that the stores should be called if say me as a business person sees a cart out on the sidewalk, rather than me having to haul it all the way back down there or phoning the police or phoning Bylaw, I think the first call should be to the store. And how many stores downtown have them? We've got the liquor
Pharmacy,
store.
Avon.
The liquor store,
Pharmacy has them too?
I think
I
so.
believe.
I think
I'm
so.
not 100%.
I haven't
We
seen
could
it.
ask them to start putting them inside as well.
See, that's part of a prevention measure.
Well,
Yeah.
that might be something to look at or requesting them to lock up at night because there was a decline in.
Yeah,
the
I know,
carts
but
the
stuff,
last
all
couple
they have to do if they really want a cart is they'll have their hefty heavy duty clippers and they'll clip the lock. So
Yeah.
pretty spindly.
No,
little-
I
But
think
if they're in the store at
At night.
night.
Yes, then there's a
And,
problem.
and you know what, if they really want a cart, they can put $1 in on some of them.
Yeah.
Does Save On still have dollars?
Yeah, you put some
Mhm.
kind of coin. in
Yeah,
it
okay,
at least.
okay, yeah. Yeah, but, I think we have to start somewhere and,
I do agree with that. I think the number 4 where stores required to label the cards seems more reasonable, but I don't want to punish the stores because
so
there's.
Save On's already on the handle.
Yeah,
It says Save On. I think Pharmacy says Pharmacy.
well, they're all different colors. You've got green and red and.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know about the liquor store.
And the dollar store ones stay inside all the time, so they've got those big
Right, that's
flags on
right.
them.
Yeah,
Get
that's
them
right.
outside the door. Yeah.
Right.
No,
And I
they
think the,
still- the
yeah,
shoppers or the staff can see where the shoppers are going.
that's the dollar store. Yes. Yeah.
To explain.
Yeah.
No giggling over there. No, I'm just kidding. I think the communication with the stores might be effective. My concern is that if you started implementing a fine for the stores, I mean,
No, I don't
I
think we
don't
need to
wanna-
do that right away. I think that we try our first 2 steps first.
Yeah.
And then if the stores are not receptive, then, we have to go down the road, but you have to give them a chance saying, listen, we can't have this. We got to stop it.
And the other thing too, the more calls they get, maybe the more embarrassed they're going to be about it.
Mhm.
Come and get your card.
Mhm.
I know if I had something that people were finding all over town, I'd be really embarrassed. It had the grand all over it.
yeah, I think if we can do a phone call or something, start out with something like that and see if it
So-
improves.
So CAO, how would we go about this process of working with the stores on prevention and retrieval?
For me, I think it involves potentially inviting them to a
A
meeting
meeting.
of some sort and just having a
Okay.
general talk about the problem, getting some feedback from them. I know this has been tried somewhat before, maybe different results in a different time frame. I don't know. But talk about it first, identify the problem and see if we can get some buy-in and support or some better ideas. The concern I have is that the numbers here indicate 78% of the carts come from one location, so we
Yep.
have a visible target of who we want to talk to and try and arrange something that works. And, what I've heard is, we don't necessarily want to punish the stores. If we're doing phone calls, if we're doing anything at all on this stuff, it costs money one way or the other. Because time out of the bylaw officer's day, it takes time. Is he gonna leave the cart there? Is he gonna phone them up and say, your cart is on this corner? Please come and pick it up. How many times does he call? If he doesn't get through the first time, how much time do we have involved in it? The actual time it takes to put the cart in the back of the truck, next time you're near the shop, drop it off in the yard, might be actually less time, just saying, right?
So
So-
could there be a text system set up with Bylaw and the stores? If he comes across a cart on a certain location, he texts the store that is involved. Your cart is at here and here. Could you please retrieve it? I
Yeah.
mean, we could try something like that too, so where he doesn't have to come back and do a phone call. He could just do a quick text.
I
That'd be
still
great.
think that the more times you have to call the store, the more they're going to feel obligated to do something about it. So
I
even if you
agree. I
just
agree with that.
said to
I'm looking at
citizens
bylaw.
of Merit, hey, if you see a cart out on the street, phone the store.
Okay, that could be in our
And that might even be
weekly news thing.
that
We
could be a
we
solution.
could tag cards or require them to tag cards with a phone number for people to call to get them picked
Yeah.
up.
It's also good to
We've got
advertise
an app on my work phone that actually time and location stamps things as well. So when I drive around on my own and I text Public Works, all I gotta do is take a picture of something and it tells them where it is.
Nice.
So that helps as well. So, you know, it just comes right up on the photograph of something.
Mhm.
But for me, I think if this is gonna come back again, which it is, and we haven't been able to get through something that's working since the last time, that we have to do some sort of quality engagement
Mhm.
and problem solving with the other end of the spectrum that's involved in this, which is the stores. It's
Yep,
the only way.
agree.
Well, I think we
And-
should go ahead and arrange a meeting for
Yeah.
the stores.
And I think that we should also lay the groundwork. Here's what we would like now, and here possibly could be the next steps involved.
I,
So that there is a clear understanding, if the cooperation does not work, we're going to have to implement the next steps.
Yeah, I think if we try something like some calls and we can see the number of carts abandoned and stabilize, then maybe we can look at that. If it doesn't improve, maybe we can look at something further, like having this locking mechanism or something, because that would be quite expensive to put mechanisms on refurbishing carts existing. I mean, that would cost a lot.
I don't know if you refurbish the carts. I think
Or you-
it's already in the material in the wheels.
You may,
Do
but then you'd
do you
have
know
to
that?
put it on every.
You just replace the wheels unless it's horribly damaged, because they're
Yeah.
built to take a hit, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I think we have to be careful is that if we do have a number on to call and stuff, it's for carts that are abandoned, not somebody still holding on to the cart.
Mhm. That's
That's
the
where-
RCMP's
That's where it
job.
goes to the RCMP,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, we're abandoned carts. We'll let the RCMP deal with the stolen property.
Yeah,
So maybe there's two parts to this.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also, you know, we have to understand as well that the stores are victims in this as well to some degree. I mean, they have property being stolen. My concern is if carts are less accessible, are we now encouraging the population that's taking them to start taking other things? Are we gonna start losing recycle bins all around town? Are we gonna be losing kids' wagons out of their yard? Does one thing create a consequence someplace else that's no better? This is not an easy subject, one way or the other.
Well, then-
There's a will, there's a way.
Then why don't we go a next step, another level, and work with, I don't know what group, community services, CSC, or another group, that works with the homeless, and get them to come up with their own cards,
well, I do.
and they sign them out.
That comment about that could be a concern, that's real, because I remember a year and a half ago, seeing somebody at 12:30 at night going down behind the old courthouse, stealing someone's garbage can. Because it was great for, hauling stuff, and it was one of the recycle bins just going down by Chapman and Granite. So it can happen. So if the carts are perfectly locked up, you might start seeing your recycle bin gone.
They want
Which
to
would-
haul my recycling bin, they can have it, I'll just get another one.
Yeah, but at
You're
what
responsible for the cost of replacing it.
So
That's
if-
the problem.
And,
I'll pay for it.
that's a concern. So if carts started getting stolen, how much are
But
residents?
really,
charged?
though, in reality, if anyone sees someone hauling a recycling or a garbage can downtown, I think they're gonna get reported right away.
But are you gonna pay, in the meantime, if they need a new one, then they're gonna get charged that too.
Yeah.
Is that what would happen
Yeah,
right now?
the bylaw, you're responsible for your cart. Unless the truck damages it, there's a charge associated with getting another one.
What happened to the good neighbor bylaw, like help each other out?
Yeah.
Mayor, did you have a comment?
Yeah, so
Rogan as
I
well.
understand the CAO's comments that if we do one thing, something else could happen. But the point of the matter is, we've got to have a situation where your social decisions are your social decisions. And making changes for somebody who has decided to opt out of society is their choice to do so. But we have to, again, protect citizens. That's why we blocked off Citizens or Spirit Square. That's why we removed benches. We had to do something. And this becomes a situation where we're seeing a lot of our bylaw officer's time going into something that he should not be doing, and it's taking time away. That could very well happen. It very well could not happen. It's hard to say. We also have to remember now, the 2.5 decrim is gone. So a lot of these people that were here on drug holiday because we're 2.5 decrim are no longer going to be in this province. They're going to head home. So I think I'm looking to see what the 2026 numbers look like. That'll be quite interesting. But that's just me.
Councilor Rogan?
So I just feel like one step at a time, right? So we cannot, assume something that may or may not happen.
That's
So
right.
I really like your recommendation. I think that I would like to hear from store owners. What are the challenges? What have they done? What have they implemented? Maybe it's not working. What can we do to work together with those store owners? I think that would be the first step number one. Step number two, perhaps involve RCMP. Step number three, we're talking about, some kind of fees if that's possible. But we need to start with that meeting. The sooner the better.
Yeah, I think cooperation, mutual cooperation's key.
That's it. The motion is to take this discussion to city council.
Well,
But I think that we should also contact the store owners, especially the ones that are particularly
Yes, have a meeting.
prominent in this scenario, and have a discussion before the next council meeting, if that's possible.
That's Tuesday.
yeah.
Oh, will this come on Tuesday?
Monday?
Does it have to come Tuesday?
It wouldn't have to come on Tuesday.
Okay, so maybe before it's brought forward.
Yes.
Have a
Yeah.
meeting with them.
So. I think if I'm correct, if I'm reading this right. If I'm reading this right, Councillor Egan wants to move this to council for discussion and decision. And I think part of that decision would be the first meeting with the store owners to get there in the future to understand what's happening on with the carts. Is that what we're looking
Yes,
at?
yes, thank you.
Well, this was in council and then
Okay.
brought up to bring here. And then are we gonna pick an amendment or is required to label carts or just have a meeting? Cause that's the closest to the option 4.
Could bring,
I think by this committee moving this to the next available council meeting with the options that we've talked about, and then it could be talked about there and implemented there. We can't implement it here.
No,
but
but I
you could
mean,
bring the options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To city council as well.
I just, it's a tough thing. Cause you don't wanna create a big cost to the stores either, but I mean.
We have to do something about it. So, gonna second that motion?
Second.
All in favor? Right?
I think it's a waste of time, but anyway.
That the committee directs or requests that the discussion for shopping carts be forwarded to the next available council meeting, and that council review and discuss the options available.
Yeah, I think
Just
the
want to
options
have another
for,
discussion
yeah.
at a council
Yes.
meeting as
Yeah.
opposed to at the committee at the whole
But we,
level.
but we want to have a meeting with the
Store owners.
store owners prior
The
to
impact
that.
Part of the
Stakeholders.
resolution that staff be directed to hold a meeting with
Yeah.
the store owners and then return to a council meeting with the results.
and
of-
yes, and I think the options were working with the RCMP on the stolen carts, working with the stores on prevention and retrieval.
On the abandoned ones.
And on abandoned carts and different ways of prevention. And also promotions in the paper of how citizens can report abandoned carts.
So you want us to develop a full program around or what
Options,
layout
could I say
options?
options?
Yeah, because
Okay.
Options,
if
yeah.
everybody, we all want to have a clean, safe city. It's
So-
not just council, but the community does. So everybody should be responsible.
Chair, point of order. This group can't make these kind of decisions unless it moves to council, correct?
Council
This
can
is
make
just
the decisions,
decision.
you're just
So,
making recommendations.
I think the
You-
recommendation that we're talking about is that this gets moved to council with the options where it can then be approved. I think having a meeting before that is, and we can't do that because we can't make that motion
Here,
here.
we can't make any.
So I would say the motion is that this gets moved to council with the top option being meet with store owners. Second option, RCMP involvement. Third option, whatever that was, but because we can't make that decision here.
Okay,
No, I mean, and at the earliest, it wouldn't be this next meeting would be maybe in either the end of the month or March or something.
The agenda for next week for February 10th is being put together tomorrow and distributed tomorrow, so this would not be an
Yeah.
item on that agenda.
Yeah.
The next meeting after that is February 24th.
they're not going
Okay.
anywhere. So I don't think it's a.
Carried.
Yeah. So that's the resolution then that will follow up in February.
A recommendation.
Okay, so then next order of business is the City Hall Christmas closure policy. Item forwarded from the meeting, so I guess discussion.
Okay, I'll just bring up, Counselor Charney and I got together and formulated a policy. We actually engaged the use of Chat GPT and considered employment standards, QP, and had, instead of it just being a holiday or just being for the Christmas season, wasn't sure if we actually had a policy on holidays. But this would be for a holiday and year-end operations policy for exempt employees. So I have some copies here if everybody would like to read it.
Yeah,
We'll have to share. Yeah. I got one more over here. Mm-hmm. You can share it.
Yep.
Okay. You guys need one more over there? Wendy, you got one, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And I would have sent it to you earlier, but we just did this yesterday. As you can see, it was about 16 hours ago. And it took me 3 times to get comfortable with Chat GPT, where I could actually copy and paste it to a Word document. So, well, I think it's covered quite a few things. And if you, and you would know better because you're more familiar with the policy CO. So if there's anything in here that we would want to delete, we can, or maybe we could amalgamate it with the vacation policy for exempt employees.
I think the bottom line comes down to taxpayers' accessibility to the building and being accountable and transparent for how our dollars are spent.
Yeah.
And there's also inequity within the system where some employees are either allow, I don't know how to phrase this. They're on reduced workload because they're not interacting with the public and supervisors may not be present because they're on holidays, etc. And yet the other employees are required to go to their regular work job. So there's more than just one thing involved in this.
And when we did this, this was all to do with BC councils with populations under 10,000. So they compared it to a lot of other communities, not just pinpointing. He kind of gathered all over the 4 that they recommended that we compared to as Williams Lake and one on the island.
Yeah,
Revelstoke.
This is basically just saying that you expect them to work. The whole idea was that people are still going to be working. It's just that the front door's closed. That's the only thing.
The thing where I'm coming from is the taxpayers are paying for this building to be open. And it's not accessible to them. And it's like any other business. We have to start looking at the city hall as running it as a business.
And it is.
No, it's not.
When
It
you
is.
are
No,
not
not when you're
open
giving-
to the public.
Yeah.
It's like Canadian Tire saying, you
Okay.
know what, all the employees come on into the store and work in the store, but the Canadian Tire is closed to the public.
We're going to give a chance for Councilors Baxter and Hogan to give their thanks.
You are for something.
This should be the sitting council's decision. Every year, it should be
No.
the council that is sitting there because it is ultimately their choice. As soon as we leave this office, they could go and turn around and change it again. So it should be their policy to let the citizens, and if you look, there's other communities all over BC that are doing the same thing where they're closing down for those dates.
Yes, and I have quite a few
And
that
so
are
do I.
not. So, but. Okay,
Councilor
go
Baxter,
ahead,
continue,
go ahead.
please. Thank you.
Like. People move to Merritt for a reason. We are live, love, work and play here. And if we start taking away things and running this, like, I don't know, it just, you see Kelowna closes down. They're way larger than us and they're a bigger commodity, but they close down because they believe in their employees and if an employee wants to work, they're allowed to work.
May I just
Sure.
add to your comment? CAO, with that, with the people working, is it not the case that if people take vacation, it's vacation? It's
Correct.
just that the office itself for a few days, they can't come to the front desk, but they can call in and somebody does answer the phone except for, say, December 25th, 26th, and
Correct. So if people aren't at work, they're taking vacations.
yeah,
If they don't want to take vacations and work.
they may be working.
Workload management, we've
Yeah.
discussed that before. I mean, you
Yeah.
work it out one way or the other.
These are not free days off.
Oh,
No, that
Okay.
could be done under
Just to clarify.
APOs or flex time or whatever, however else the.
yep,
particular
using their
council's working.
benefits one way or the
That's
other.
right.
The biggest benefit to the organization, I think, if you look at it this way, is we have one plus a bit, like 1.5, I guess is the right number, people covering the front desk. So allowing a closure for people to take holiday time there where the city hall does not have to be open allows that coverage at the front desk to not necessarily have to be there.
And if a resident has a question, there's still somebody answering the phone because
Correct.
there is, or
Well, my phone rings,
No
I
one-
answer it, but okay.
So
What
no
was
one's
that?
answering the phone.
So right now, the way that it's working is that City Hall is closed, the front reception, so that both people who are covering front reception are union employees. They're both able to take vacation time to be with their families during the Christmas break. The front reception would be closed. But if there is somebody that's working and somebody has an email or is directly phoning somebody who happens to be working, then those people would of course respond because they're here
But
in the office and working.
Okay.
Others who are taking time off would be doing so either catching up on flex days that they've accumulated, if they're a little bit over during the year, or taking vacation time. So by the policy that council adopted in the past, just recognized that there would be more than one person who would want to take vacation time at the same time. So this allowed for them to actually take vacation time at the same time. If they were like, say they're the backfill for a position, then they can both do it. If City Hall is open during that time, then someone would not be able to take vacation while somebody else who may be higher in seniority would be taking that vacation time.
It's the same as any other business.
and
That's right.
and typically this time of year is quite slow at the city hall. Normally, is that a good assumption or is that inaccurate?
People are generally focused during the Christmas holidays on Christmas holiday activities.
Okay,
They may not be quite as focused on,
paying tax and yeah.
And
you
Okay.
wouldn't typically,
Unfortunately, taxpayers pay for people to be focused. And Maple Ridge is bigger than we are. Abbotsford is bigger than we are. Revelstoke is bigger than we are. Surrey is bigger than we are, and they're all open. I'm still gonna go back to the taxpayers, and they are paying for a service that they're not getting. Social services, children and families, they're open
Yes,
on those. All stores are open. So what I'm saying is that we have to align with other government agencies and businesses within town. Every town I can say, I have come to this town to live, work, play, and have fun. That's every town. That's not just Merritt.
okay.
And I don't think that someone is going to come to this town and work in the office here because they're getting time off at Christmas.
Okay, back to Councillor Baxter because I interrupted her and then Councillor.
When citizens and come down to Marion, to the city hall, they're not coming at Christmas time. They'll send it out on Facebook, they'll be like this, but people respond on Facebook. I saw that somebody complained about garbage and somebody from Public Works went in contact with them. People are still working. They're just, the other employees are getting an opportunity so that they can take their vacations now, not during a busy time, not during budget season, not during the summertime when we need these employees. They're getting an opportunity to take that time while we're slower So that way they can enjoy their families and then they can come back to work refreshed and then go right back into work. They're not getting penalized. We're not paying for them to stay.
No, but you also,
Yeah.
Councillor,
First of all, I want to encourage everyone to wait their turns, please, so that we can communicate better. Now it's my turn. Thank you. So I want to question the need of this agenda item because let's be realistic here. There is a policy in place right now, and that policy states that the city is going to be closed from Christmas to the first, correct? That's how it states. Now, if we assess what other municipalities are doing, we will find both. We will find municipalities that are open and just closed for the 25th and the 1st, and we will find municipalities that are closed for the whole break. So again, we go back to the need of having this item in the agenda. So how many times have other councillors received complaints from our community, from our taxpayers regarding this time off? Personally, I have not received even one phone call. So I don't know what is the situation with the others. So do I feel if staff tells me we have received this number of complaints, that's an issue, that's a priority that we need to address. So far, I have not seen a priority. I appreciate even staff bringing that item, in to be discussed because according to policy, it was already a policy there. That do they have to come bring it back to policy? I don't know, to council, maybe not. So anyway, so there are municipalities having both. I don't have the problem by keeping the policy as it states. Thank you.
something else to say?
Councillor Egan?
I think this all came about because when we were talking about what time should staff be able to get off early on Christmas Eve? And what I was going to say, Councillor Baxter, is that you suggested they be allowed to be off at noon so they could finish up their Christmas shopping. They've had a whole year to do their Christmas shopping. So I don't believe we should be letting them off early. I would say 4 o'clock.
CEO?
Can I suggest probably a more simplified version of how we can move forward with this?
Yes, please.
We don't need to solve all the problems of the world right now. If you're interested in moving this to council, we can look at a recommendation to rescind the existing policy and see how that goes. And then if we do rescind the existing policy, it's a conversation we can have each fall with whoever's on council at the time, if there's an interest, instead of trying to maintain a policy long-term. This is obviously a polarizing conversation. And just to be clear, I don't have any skin in the game on this. I use that time myself to, have some quiet time to work and whatnot, and, gets me caught up on things. I quite enjoy the going into the office and not having a lot of people around myself. What we do have to consider from the operational perspective is during most days, we have our 1.5 to 2 people that cover the front desk, and we have other support staff around that can go in if they have to partially cover things. And believe me, you don't want me doing that at the front desk. That said, that's on most normal days. At that particular time of year, a lot of people take holidays, and you can schedule yourselves down to, we got one person that's going to be working for those 3 days in between, and they call in sick and we're closed anyways. Right. So operationally, I'm a little bit concerned because that's a time of year where a lot more people try to take time. There's more stat days. And then there's always those days where if they've gone somewhere to visit family, coming back, it's a snowstorm, they don't make it back, whatever the reason is, it's winter time and it's a staff availability thing. It's all I think about is the impact of the organization if we try to stay open, and whether or not we're going to have staff there on that one day or the 2 days or the 3 days involved for whatever reason.
Sorry, I thought you were finished.
I was thinking about being finished. However, that I can leave it at that. But if we want to just rescind a policy, maybe that can be the recommendation and let the ships fall where they may on that. But we don't have to solve all the problems right now. We can work through another process if you like and work this back and forth a little longer and try and come to a consensus. I'm not sure you're going to have a full consensus.
Well,
with the polarizing.
how many exempt employees work upstairs or work in the building?
Exempt. Man, there's gotta be 24, 25. something.
Wow. And you're worried about one person getting sick to have to close it down? You got 24 people and they're all gonna be taking holidays?
I'm worried about who's there still able to do it. Like I said, I'm not sure you want me covering the front desk. People give me
And if
money,
you
that's
read through
terrible.
here, it addresses QP employees and how exempt staff could go in and do certain jobs, like
No,
answering the phone, receiving mail or documents that people bring in.
this, I don't think that looking at this quickly would be enough time to kind of really study this for the rest of us getting this. I mean, thank you for bringing it, but I think
Point of order.
personally, I think that if people are taking the time off at a quiet time of the year and it's been working, and there's some people answering emergency emails for public works, or if there's a water emergency, we have a phone system in place for other holidays. I don't see that there's an issue. People are using time off, they're using their holidays, and they have to use them eventually. I think it's reasonable. Retaining staff these days, sometimes those are the things that keep them. So I'm sorry, Councillor Egan, that I don't agree.
You're entitled to your opinion, that's for sure.
Order, please. So we cannot make decisions for a union. That is a union group that makes the decisions on their own. And those decisions are made through bargaining, collective bargaining. So we can't make any decisions for QB. That does not get made. Doesn't matter. We have 24 or 240 up there. If the union says they get that time off, they get that time off. It's simply the way it is. So my suggestion, and I agree with with the CAO, if you want to rescind this, make a motion to have it moved to council to have rescinded and have the discussion there.
I have something first.
Councillor Cherney?
First of all, you talk about people complaining. Out of the blue, I was meeting with some people yesterday and one of them said to me, what a gong show that meeting was when you were discussing the holiday closures. She said she was totally embarrassed with the conduct. And so that was the feedback from, and you know what, I have never met this lady. I know of her. I have never met this lady before. And so she was embarrassed at how that meeting went. So that is some feedback that I got just yesterday. And I thought to myself, perfect timing. And I wasn't even going to bring it up. I didn't even thought of it until you mentioned that. So secondly, if this is policy, why do we bring it up every Christmas then? Why is it brought up? Does policy have to be brought up? No, it was in the meeting. It was brought to us.
No one has ever brought this forward.
No, but it's every year we have to pass this. Every year it comes to us. And that's why it came up at this meeting, because we had to approve the days off.
Well,
And that's why I'm saying,
take it to council for this.
yeah, I mean, I did not bring that up as a motion. That was brought up.
Councillor Egan?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I forgot what I was gonna say now. No, we're doing a seesaw seat thing here because we brought it up at council. It was passed to the policy committee. And now you're saying, well, let's just throw it back at council for discussion again?
Because you're asking to rescind the actual policy. That hasn't been brought up before. So now you're asking to rescind.
This was just a suggestion. I'm not asking for it to be done. I brought this as a discussion piece.
I understand that, but in order for this to be moved forward, you have to rescind what you have in front of you.
You know,
The best motion, the best course of action here is to move this to council to have the current bylaw rescinded and see where council goes with it and then have a new policy made. You can't do it here.
so one comment and thought that I have, and I can appreciate trying to run City Hall like other businesses. And unlike other businesses, sometimes people will come in here and have different attitudes and be upset about different things. And I think that we have to consider that the staff, deals with a range of emotions and frustrations and stuff as well. And if multiple people have the opportunity to be off and use it as holiday time, I think that's a reasonable thing to be able to do. Other businesses, banks, in different locations will be closed for a few days at a time. But they're using it as holiday, and that's what they're doing here, is using it as a holiday. So I personally don't seem to have an issue. I can appreciate Councillor Charney thinking we should be open for a little longer and operate like a business, and I agree. And Councillor Egan runs a business, and I can appreciate that, and I hear you. And I also think that sometimes we have to allow people time to take their holidays
Back to you then.
during a quiet time, and also know that we have the emergencies addressed. Because there's emergency telephones for if there's something happening in the city as a municipality. We're not a business, we're a municipality, but anyway,
That's your QP.
Can I add a little bit of clarity?
see you.
Yeah, on there. So from what I understand, what we do each year is we ask regarding the Christmas Eve closure for the half day or whatever it is. This year, that also turned into a confirmation of policy. I believe there was a request at some point to revisit that. We'd asked for that in the same motion to confirm it. Normally, we wouldn't bring this in every year. I wouldn't think. I remember questioning it myself, going, if it's policy, why would we need to deal with that? And I got told the same thing. Well, it's the afternoon of Christmas Eve is what we're talking about here. So I think there was a request and or a conversation that opened up from that point to talk about the rest of the closure.
That's right.
But our general intent was the Christmas Eve half a day closure is what we were essentially working on.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a motion that we bring this, that we, how do you want to word that?
Refer to the council meeting?
Refer to council for.
Yes.
Bylaw to be rescinded.
Yes,
Okay,
and for further discussion.
okay, second. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Mayor, you had a question?
So it's just the ability to go over Councillor Egan and Councillor Charney's copy that they made, because I haven't had time to read the whole thing.
Yeah, same.
So I'd
Agreed.
like time to read that, because I can't digest it all here.
And just to point out, in this sample, there are some rebuttal questions as well as answers. So
Okay,
for your perusal.
so
I
first
made the motion. She has to second it.
second, all in favor? Okay, great. I think that brings us to the end. We have no information items, so meeting terminated. Thank you.
Always like a spirit of youth.
It was good info.